Hey guys, welcome to the second devlog of my game, and if you haven't seen the previous devlog, go watch it now. As I explained how I implemented the functions of the ragdoll body and animation and the ragdoll body reacting with different physics objects. For this devlog I would like to show the features I've implemented since the past 2 weeks, since my first devlog. And I would firstly like to start off with the asset list I've created. I've assigned tasks and also have a deadline for each task. I managed to get references to some interesting things with the help of the 3D designers in my 3D modelers in my game. So some of the things we collectively have decided on having a hot dog stall or a pretzel stall, some of these things, and also a trophy for the game, like a cup for the game. So as a cup I'm planning to have something funny, and this is the reference images of what the cup could look like. So I've also asked the 3D modelers to create some concept art for the game, and there's the reference from Bomberman. Yeah, that's it for the 3D design for now, and yeah, since last devlog I've also managed to set up a Git Kraken and add all the developers to it. So yeah, this is how I've been using Git Kraken and version control with Git Kraken. Now I would like to talk about some of the inspirations for the game. So first inspiration for my game is human fall flat. So the main inspiration from this comes from the highly interactable environments. So anything you can see in the environment in human fall flat you can actually interact with, and the physics of the character also, the physics of the different object also affects the character. So the character is also one of my main inspirations, having this kind of wobbly looking character which interacts with the environment and can interact with anything you can see in the environment in the game. The second inspiration for my game comes from the highly chaotic nature of the game in which you are playing with loads of other players, not only involved in doing some basic platforming things, but you also have to be aware of what people around you are doing, so that someone doesn't push you off the map, or someone doesn't kick you or punch you and leave you behind. So yeah, my game would also be having a similar kind of chaotic nature to it. So as soon as the pitch invader would be invading the pitch, all the players on the pitch would be panicking, which would cause this similar kind of chaos as you can see in Fall Guys. So yeah, and also the character design, the wobbly character, funny looking character, and some of the mechanics such as jumping, grabbing, punching and stuff would be inspired from Fall Guys. Now I would like to discuss about some of the progress I've made since the last time. This is the last devlog actually. So for this version I have managed to set up the camera, so the player would look in whichever direction you're pointing the camera at. Not only that, but you can also look up and down, and it would make it look like the player character is actually looking up and down. And also we can now grab different objects. So you can grab this cube and also throw it around. You can also grab this dummy, throw it around. So one of the things I would like to show you here, when you actually manipulate with the physics objects, for example this grabbable item, if I increase the weight of the item to 200, so now earlier I was able to pick the object, now I can't pick it up, and it's also slowing my player down. So yeah, this is what I have for now in the current version of my game. Now I will be explaining how I did some of these, implemented some of these things, and the bugs I encountered while implementing these things. So the first thing I would like to show is the camera controller. For the camera controller script we are taking the reference of the root, which is a game object in which the camera is attached to. And this game object root is connected to the hips. As I rotate the camera, the hips move according to the camera as well. So what I'm talking about is this motion here. So the hips are moving and it's rotating the player to the direction my mouse is pointing at. Right? So taking the variables of mouse X and mouse Y for getting the input of the mouse, rotation speed, which is the sensitivity more or less, stomach offset, and the references to configurable joints of hip joint and stomach joint. So the first thing I do in the camera control function is get the mouse X position and add the input of the mouse and the rotation speed for the sensitivity to rotate the mouse, rotate the player around, to get the value of rotating the player around the x-axis. Then we do it with the y-axis and we get the axis and add the rotation speed, and we inverse the axis, and then we clamp the mouse Y position, mouse Y angles to -35 to -960. So it's basically limiting the camera angle, so that we can't just like fully look 180 degree and rotate the player in weird way. So yeah, then we are making a quaternion variable and storing the positions of and using the positions of mouse Y and mouse X, and then we're making the root rotation. Then we are assigning the root rotation to the rotation of the quaternion we just created. So the root will be rotating depending on the mouse Y and mouse X variables. So yeah, when the root rotate, along with the root, we also want to rotate the hip joint. Like I said before, as I'm rotating the camera, I also want the hips to rotate the body along with it. And then we're taking the stomach joint and assigning the target rotation and rotating the stomach joint to the mouse Y position added by a stomach offset, which I played around with. So if you look up, the player will look up due to the stomach rotation, and if you look down, the player will look down. So for the grabbing, we have we have animations for the right and left hands. So right hand and left hand. So when you press right mouse button, when you press left mouse button, it will raise the left hand. When you press right mouse button, it will raise the right hand. When you press both, it will raise both hands. The script is attached to the hands. For that is left or right, we have a value of 0. For the left hand. For the right hand, we have a value of 1. So yeah, we first get the reference of the rigid body of the hands. Then we check if the button is 0, which is left hand, we use the left hand grab animation. If it's 1, we use the right hand grab animation. And once the mouse button is pressed, we can grab variable sets itself to true. So on triggering, on entering the trigger of the hand, call the pickup function for the grabbed item. So what the pickup function is, it's a reference of the rigid body of the hands. Attach a fixed joint to the grabbable object, and we make the break force very high so that the grab doesn't break. And we assign the connected body of the fixed joint to the rigid body of the hands. That's how we like connect both hand and the object together. Then when the mouse button is up, release the grabbed item and make the grab item variable null and set the can grab to false. So in the release function, we just basically destroy the joint on the fixed joint on the grabbable object, which disconnects the player's hand and the grabbable object. Yeah, so this is how I have implemented grabbing. Some of the bugs in the current state which I've encountered, I would like to talk about, was the first bug was a glitchy effect on the arms of the player character. The mass of the arms were really less, which was creating this glitchy effect for grabbing an object. So I grabbed an object and it created really glitchy effect. So I had to play around with the masses and different components of configurable joint, and then I figured that I have to increase the mass of the hands and the arms to remove the glitchy effect. So yeah, that's all the progress I've made for the current devlog. And in the future, before next devlog, I plan on having a basic guard AI in which the guard is chasing the player. So this guard will be an animated character and will only switch to a ragdoll once a collision takes place above a certain force. So we'll be implementing basic chase AI, and one of my developers will be helping me with it. And then we'll also be implementing the animation to ragdoll swap, and the guard AI making it a bit advanced. When the guard AI comes too close to the player, he'll try to grab the player. So this is all the things I plan on having for the next devlog. Thanks for joining my devlog. Thanks for joining me in this devlog, and see you next week. Thank you.